Inside a cave in England, someone found human bones. But these bones were not buried. They were broken, cut, chewed, and one of the skulls had been carefully shaped into a drinking cup. 14,700 years ago, the people who did this were not starving. They had meat, they had tools, they had fire. So why did they eat human flesh? Why did they turn a child's skull into a bowl? The answer changes everything you think you know about your ancestors. When you picture early humans, you probably imagine cavemen barely surviving. You're wrong. The people who lived in Gough's cave in Somerset, England, were not primitive. They lived near the end of the last ice age, in a world colder and harsher than anything you've experienced. They hunted horses and deer. They made clothing. They built communities. But here's what you probably don't expect. They made art. They carved objects. They decorated their tools. They created beauty. These were not savages. They were us. 14,000 years earlier, and they ate their dead. Gough's Cave is a tourist attraction today. People visit it for the rock formations, but beneath their feet, archaeologists found something else. Human remains. 2 teenagers and a child, 3 years old. When you look at these bones, the marks tell you exactly what happened. Every cut, every bite. Someone did this deliberately. There were cut marks where flesh had been stripped away, human bite marks pressed into the bone, and some bones had been smashed open, not cracked by accident, broken on purpose. Why? To reach the marrow inside. For your ancestors, marrow was treasure, rich in fat, rich in energy, the most valuable part of any animal, and these people extracted it from human bones the same way they would from a deer. Methodically, skillfully, like they had done it before. This is where most stories about cannibalism stop. They were starving. They had no choice. Except they weren't starving. Animal bones found at the site show these people had access to plenty of meat: horses, deer, wild cattle. They were not desperate. They were not trapped. They chose to eat human flesh when they had other food available. And that changes everything. Because if cannibalism wasn't about survival, what was it about? Then researchers found something that made the story even darker. 3 human skulls had been carefully modified. Not smashed, not discarded. Shaped into cups, into bowls. The oldest skull cups ever found anywhere in the world. Someone removed parts of each skull with precision. Someone shaped the bone. Someone polished the edges. This took time. This took skill. This took intention. Imagine holding a cup made from a human skull. Imagine drinking from it. Now imagine the person whose skull it was someone you knew. Was it honor? Was it ritual? Was it something else entirely? The dead don't explain themselves. They never have. And then researchers found something even stranger. One bone had a zigzag pattern carved into it. Deliberate. Careful. Made before the bone was broken open. Think about what that means. Someone sat down, held a human bone, and carved a pattern into it. Not after the flesh was gone. Before they broke it open for marrow. Before they ate. This was not just processing meat. Someone gave this bone a symbol, a meaning, an action that mattered to them, even if that meaning is lost to you forever. What kind of people carve art into the bones of those they eat? The same people who carve art into their tools. The same people who paint cave walls. The same people who are your ancestors. And Gough's Cave was not alone. Across Europe, from France to Germany to Poland, archaeologists keep finding the same thing. Different groups, different caves, different millennia, the same behavior. Cut marks on human bones. Marrow extracted, skulls shaped. This wasn't one strange event. This was something humans did, repeatedly, for thousands of years. Your species did this. The people of Gough's cave were not monsters. They were you. 14,700 years earlier. They loved, they grieved, they created beauty, and when someone they knew died, they didn't put them in the ground. They ate them. They turned their skulls into cups. They carved symbols into their bones. And they did it with meaning. A meaning you will never fully understand. 14,700 years from now, someone might dig up your bones. They'll find your teeth, your tools, the things you loved, and they'll probably get it wrong, because the dead don't explain themselves. The people in Gough's cave didn't leave a note. They left bones, broken, cut, chewed, and a skull, shaped into a cup, sitting in the dark for 14,000 years, waiting for someone to find it, waiting for someone to ask why. If this changed how you see your ancestors, subscribe, because the past is not always comfortable, but it always has a story to tell.